Hi everyone. Good to see you on my channel today. Today I will tell you a wonderful story. It is full of love and kindness. I hope you enjoy it and I wish you an enjoyable viewing experience. Thank you.
Let's hurry up. We have only 20 minutes before the next pair. Maria hurried her friend, noticing that she was delayed in the classroom. 1 minute, I'm coming now, the girl replied, putting her things in her purse. Now all the seats will be occupied, and we will not be able to drink coffee, continued Maria, realizing that now the students will take the line in the cafeteria and they will not have time to have lunch. That's it, let's go, answered Catherine, and jumping out of the classroom, hurried with her friend to the cafeteria. After buying coffee and a couple of rolls, the girls managed to take the last free table to rest before the start of the next pair. By the way, are you ready for the financial audit or not? No, I haven't had time to do anything. Yesterday was so much homework that was not on it, neither strength nor desire, answered Catherine. I'm not ready either. Yesterday with John went to the movie theater, and I did nothing. With John? You said that he was boring and stupid, Catherine noted in surprise, not expecting that her friend could meet with this guy. Well, yes, I did, but I decided to give him a chance. And how did it go? Asked Catherine, who on principle avoided guys that attempts to start a relationship, concentrating on her studies. My words only confirmed, with him incredibly boring. While we were in the movie theater, it seemed that not everything is not so bad, but then we decided to sit in a cafe, and then I regretted that I decided to meet him, admitted a friend and laughed. Why? Is it really that sad? That's an understatement. It feels like he doesn't know how to communicate with girls, and it was the first date in his life, said Maria. Well, it happens, sympathized with her friend Catherine, realizing that this is not the first unsuccessful attempt to Maria to find a guy for a serious relationship. That's right, you better tell me, when I pull you out on a date with any guy? We're in our 3rd year, and I've never seen you with a... He's so cute, Catherine answered her friend, as if she hadn't heard everything Maria had said. I don't argue, he's almost perfect. Smart, educated, interested in sports and painting, but is not interested in girls. The girls and I wanted to see if he was okay with his orientation, but then we found out that a couple of years ago, he had a serious relationship that ended in a big disappointment. Apparently, since then he has been avoiding girls and doesn't want to step on the old rake, said Maria, explaining why her friend has no chance. Too bad. With such a guy, I would have reconsidered my attitude to communicating with the opposite sex, admitted Catherine, continuing to scrutinize the guy from head to toe. So friend, distract yourself for a minute. If you have not forgotten, we have to run to the pair. In a few minutes the call, answered Maria, trying to bring her friend back to reality. Having heard the bell, the girls hurried to the next pair, during which Catherine could not think about anything but Victor. Not noticing that the teacher was looking at her, the girl not only caused laughter of the whole audience, but also got a D for not being prepared for class. Saying goodbye to her friend after the pair, Ekaterina hurried home to have time to prepare dinner before the return of her parents. The girl's mother worked as a librarian at school and comes home after 5, but her father works as a car mechanic, so he returns not earlier than 8 or even 9 in the evening. Having met and fed her mother, the girl went to her bedroom to prepare her homework and correct the double received in the financial audit class. Hearing the slamming of the door, Catherine realized that his father came home and, having folded the bag for tomorrow, hurried to the kitchen to have dinner with his family. How was your day at work? Archie asked his wife. It was fine. A few books were returned today, but their condition was not the best. I had to stay a little longer to blue some of them, answered Catherine's mother. And you, my daughter, how are things going at school? No problems? Asked the father, looking at the girl. No, Dad, no problems, lied Catherine, afraid to tell about the double. That's good. We really hope that you will graduate with honors and become the pride of the Stone family, replied the father, pinning great hopes on his daughter. Archie, come on. You know our daughter is the best, kindest, most obedient girl in the world. I'm sure that she will do well, and it's not worth pushing her unnecessarily, supported the conversation Betty, supporting Catherine. I will try to do my best not to let you down, the girl said firmly, realizing that her parents want her to get a diploma and find a good job, providing for herself and a normal future for their family. Well, everything will work out, the mother commented on her daughter's words. It's all clear with her studies, But what about the boys? Are they running after you? Asked the father, worried about his daughter finding a decent young man. Well, why are you attached to her? Catherine is now focused on her studies, and she has no time for boys, right? Asked the mother, looking at the girl. Yes, that's right. I don't want to get involved in relationships yet and try to study as much as possible, answered Catherine, agreeing with her mother. Well, in principle, too right. Better so than to go out with anyone and then disgrace the family, replied the father, realizing that for his daughter he will not be ashamed. Catherine is a smart girl and will not do anything stupid, replied Betty. Okay, study and personal life is important, but let's talk about more pressing problems. It's harvest time at the cottage, so don't plan anything for the weekend. We're going out of town, said her father, reminding her to go to the cottage. You know that I have not planned anything without you for a long time, so as you say, so it will be, replied the wife, realizing that she has no choice. I will not be able to go, Catherine replied, looking guiltily at her father. Why? We'd always go to the dacha together, the man replied, changing in his face. I promised Maria that we will go to the birthday party to a guy from our group. He has a birthday on Saturday, and he invited us to his house party, Ekaterina admitted, realizing that she does not want to lie and cannot. What kind of party? You don't like noisy parties and you don't drink. Or, am I wrong? Began interrogation father, frowning his eyebrows. No, you're not wrong. I just promised Marie that I'd keep her company, the daughter replied. What are you making up? You know that Catherine can be trusted. Stood up for the girl, Mom, remembering her youth. I trust our daughter, but not the crowd of drunken students, replied the father gloomily. Do not worry, there will be only our acquaintances, especially I will not be alone. And with Maria, replied the daughter, trying to calm her father. Indeed, why are you so nervous? Catherine is a grown-up girl and can think with her head, continued to defend her daughter Betty, realizing that she needs not only to study and help her parents, but also to rest. Okay, I get it. You can go to your party, but be aware that I will call you. If I hear that you drank, I will come from the village and take to the dacha, threatened a strict father who believes that the girl and alcohol are incompatible. Okay, agreed, calmly replied the daughter, realizing that there will be no problems with this. That's good. So we are going to the cottage on Saturday, and you be a good girl, summed up the mother, embracing her daughter and wished her a good weekend. A few days later, having given the last recommendations, the parents go to the dacha. A couple of hours later, Maria calls her friend and tells her that she is going to visit her in the evening to go to Steve's party, which was organized in honor of her birthday. Realizing that there is not much time, Catherine hurries to the bathroom and makes up, long choosing what to go to the party in. Having made a choice in favor of a beautiful evening dress, she froze in front of the mirror, carefully looking at herself. She was disturbed only by the doorbell, which meant that her friend had already come to her. Is it already 6 o'clock in the evening? Catherine asked surprised, expecting her friend a little later. Yes. And you thought what time? Asked Maria, once again looking at the clock to make sure that she did not confuse anything. Yes, I was too busy and did not look at the time at all, replied the girl, realizing that she had been admiring herself in the mirror for more than an hour. Are you ready, or do I have to wait for you to get ready? Steve is waiting for us in an hour, and I wouldn't want to be late, said Maria, trying to hurry up her friend. I'm almost ready. 5 more minutes and let's go out, answered Catherine, and, letting her friend into the apartment, hurried to the bathroom to once again check her hair and makeup. Grabbing her purse and hurrying Maria, the friends hurried to the party to be held at the house of a guy from their group. Realizing that it was too long to wait for the shuttle bus, the girls ordered a cab and got to Steve's house on time, noticing the crowd of students converging at the sound of loud music. Once at the party, the girlfriends tracked Steve down to wish him a happy birthday and give him small gifts. A few minutes later, they meet the birthday boy pouring drinks and cocktails for all their guests. Hi. Congratulations on your birthday. Maria greeted the guy from her group and, handing him a small present, kissed him on the cheek. Hi. Thank you very much, it's my pleasure, kindly replied Steve. I join you in congratulating Maria. I wish you all the best, Catherine added and handed over her gift, for which she was also rewarded with a friendly kiss. Now I'll make you cocktails, don't run away, Steve replied, and, showing his bartending skills, made a couple of non-alcoholic cocktails for the girls. Mixed with the crowd, the friends decided to relax and have fun, enjoying good music and a pleasant atmosphere. At some point, Catherine froze again, seeing on the threshold of the house the same tall and handsome guy as in the cafeteria. Carefully looking at Victor, she was surprised that he had come to the party, since only third-year students were gathered here. The younger ones Steve didn't invite, as it was improper, and the older students preferred other hangouts, ignoring socializing with the younger guys and girls. Victor's appearance not only surprised but shocked the girl, frozen like a stone. "What are you doing? What's wrong?" Maria asked, noticing the change in her friend's behavior. "He is here," answered Catherine. "Who are you talking about?" Surprised asked her friend, not realizing who she was talking about. "Victor came here. What is he doing here?" "Maybe he decided to hang out too. What do you care?" Maria asked. "It's kind of unexpected. I didn't think you went to the parties of students from junior year." "I don't know. Maybe he decided to meet you, so he came." "Do you really think so?" Anxiously asked Catherine, and poking around in her bag, took out a mirror to look at herself and make sure that the makeup is not spoiled. "I'm kidding. Calm down. He doesn't know you, and it's unlikely that anything will change," answered Maria, joking a little cruelly at her friend. Continuing to dance and have fun, Catherine does not miss the opportunity to look at the gorgeous guy, attracting the attention of a dozen other girls. Noticing that he was having a long conversation with Steve about something, the girl decided to talk to her classmate and find out how they knew each other. "Do you know Victor?" Catherine asked the birthday boy, as soon as he was alone with the bar and cocktails. "Of course, we are practically best friends," Steve answered, surprising the girl even more. "How long have you two known each other?" "Our fathers are old buddies and business partners, so you could say that Victor and I grew up in the same sandbox. Why? Do you like him, or are you just asking?" "Just so," embarrassed answered Catherine and ran away into the crowd, continuing to dance and have fun. At some point she noticed that Victor was bored near the bar, as Steve had gone somewhere and decided to use the moment to get acquainted with the guy. "Hi, my name is Catherine, and you?" "Hi, I'm Victor. Did you want to ask me something or just chat?" "To chat, if you don't mind," Ekaterina said, and slightly embarrassed, continuing to look at the guy much closer than before. "I'm always glad to have an interesting dialogue, but I'm not interested in anything else," Victor replied, ruling out the possibility of closer acquaintance and communication. "I am also interested only in friendly communication," the girl answered with a slight sadness in her voice, because she really liked the guy very much. Having drunk a cocktail, they talked a little, and Catherine was convinced that Victor was not only charming, but also an interesting guy, with whom it was nice to talk about various topics. Soon Steve returned to the bar, and Catherine, embarrassed, went to her friend. Having fun a little more, the girls decided that it was time to finish and go home. Catherine's parents are not at home, so she invited her friend to her place, and Maria did not refuse. Calling a cab, the girls said goodbye to the birthday boy and went home. The time was late, so they did not discuss the party, and having washed off all the makeup, went to bed. "Wake up, it's 10 o'clock, said Catherine, starting to push her friend. Now, just a minute, grumbled Maria, not wanting to get out of bed. "Let's get up. Parents have already called that they are leaving soon and will be home in the afternoon," answered Catherine, trying to hurry up her friend. "Okay, I'll get up," answered Maria, and reluctantly got out of bed, going to the bathroom. "I'll make coffee," shouted Catherine to her friend, who decided to take a shower to freshen up a bit and come to her senses. "Good," shouted back Maria. A few minutes later, the girls sat down at the kitchen table to drink hot coffee and remember everything that happened yesterday. Catherine, unlike her friend, drank only soft drinks, so she remembers the party perfectly and reminds Maria of how she danced on the table, gathering a crowd of surprised students around her. "Oh, how embarrassing," completely sobered up, said the girl, realizing that she attracted too much attention to herself. "Come on. Everyone liked it," replied Catherine, trying to cheer up her friend. "Yes. Well, at least something good," Maria replied with relief. "By the way, I met Victor yesterday, and we managed to talk a little," said Catherine, trying to boast a little success. "So what? He is always chatting with girls, but nothing big ends up. Do not fill yourself with empty illusions. None of them have not succeeded in getting him into bed or start dating, so you have no chance. And what if he likes me?" asked Catherine, and for a couple of moments thought, imagining the future in which she is married to Victor. "Do not pity yourself with dreams, this will not happen," broke the fantasies of her friend Maria, who recently and herself was in her place. "He I like him very much, and I want to be near him," admitted Catherine, not holding back emotions. "Find someone simpler. Here is Steve, for example. Quite nice and interesting guy, or Harvey, stupid a little, but the athlete and figure that is necessary," replied her friend, offering several other options. "No, I'm not interested in anyone. If it's not Victor, I don't need anyone else. I see she decided to live the life of a loner and leave the life of an old woman without children and husband," sharply answered Maria, trying to bring her friend back to reality. "Let it be so, but I'm not going to waste time on anyone else," said Catherine, and looking at the clock, hurried her friend to leave before her parents come home. As soon as Maria left for home, Catherine hurried into the bedroom to clean up a bit. After making the bed and putting things away in the closets, the girl returned to the kitchen and prepared dinner a few minutes before her parents returned. Hearing the smell of appetizing dishes, her father did not ask about how last night went and enjoyed a delicious meal. Mother also did not bring up the subject in front of her husband, realizing that he might start an interrogation that no one needed right now. Closer to the evening, the woman went to her daughter and, after a little talk with her, made sure that the party went well and without any unpleasant consequences. After the weekend, Catherine prepares for a new school week. Noticing that she was late, the girl grabbed her bag and ran outside, not expecting that it was raining. Ekaterina forgot her umbrella, and there was no time to return home, so she decided that she could run to the bus stop. Noticing the right bus, the girl accelerated and tried to slow down the driver, but he did not notice her and drove away a few seconds before Ekaterina reached the bus. Covering her head with her bag, the girl was soaked to the skin in just a few minutes. She wanted to hide or go home, but she realized that another double would cause unnecessary scandal and proceedings at home. At some point, Catherine turned away from the road and did not notice a car passing by at high speed. When she heard a woman calling her name, Catherine turned around, but at that moment the passing car splashed her from head to toe. Hitting the brakes sharply, the driver pulled over, parking immediately after stopping. "Are you blind? Where are you flying?" yelled Catherine, getting very angry at the driver of the car. Just at that moment, Victor jumped out of the car and, grabbing an umbrella, ran up to the girl. "Hi, I'm sorry, I didn't notice you," the guy who heard the girl's remark answered guiltily. "It's okay, with whom it does not happen," replied Catherine, sharply softened the tone. "You are all wet, let's go to my car," Victor replied, seeing that the short and pretty girl was not only dirty because of his dashing, but also wet as she stands at the stop without an umbrella for several minutes. "Is that comfortable? I'll ruin the whole salon for you," replied the girl, and was embarrassed, as she was very uncomfortable. "Don't think about it. I am guilty, and I must correct myself," insisted the guy, and led Catherine to the car, showing himself as a real gentleman. Letting the girl warm up, Victor managed to drive her home in time for Catherine to take an umbrella and change clothes. Having exceeded the speed limit several times, the guy arrived at the university a few minutes before the start of the first pair. "How would you like to meet in the cafeteria for coffee after the second class?" Victor suggested, still feeling guilty. "Okay, I don't mind," answered Catherine, and, thanking the guy for giving her a ride, got out of the car. Noticing her friend smoking under an umbrella at the benches nearby, the girl went to her. "Oh, you're already going to class together. What else have you been doing?" Maria asked Riley, trying to make fun of her friend, not expecting to see her together with Victor. "Nothing, so far. He just gave me a ride," calmly replied Catherine, not giving in to the provocation of her friend, because she did not want to argue, and there was no time for it. Hearing the call, the girls hurried to the university and were a little late for the first pair, because of which the first went to the blackboard to present their essays. Having hardly waited until the end of the second pair, Catherine left her friend in the classroom and hurried to meet Victor. Running into the cafeteria, she saw a guy with 2 cups of coffee sitting at a corner table. "Hello again. Sorry for the delay," said Catherine, finding herself near Victor's table. "That's okay, I came over here a minute ago. Sit down, I bought coffee for the 2 of us," the guy kindly offered, giving 1 cup of coffee to the girl. "Thank you, that's very kind of you," Catherine replied, continuing to scrutinize Victor as if he were some kind of a painting or a unique handmade product, attracting the eyes of millions of people around the world. "I'm sorry again for splashing you. I don't usually drive around town like that, but my father gave me a new car, and I decided to try it out," Victor said, admitting why he was driving so fast. "It's nothing. If it wasn't for that, we wouldn't have met," answered Catherine and smiled. Well, that's right, agreed the guy with a smile on his face. Cute chatting. The couple did not notice how quickly the time passed, but at the same time both noted that they have a lot in common. Victor and Catherine have common views on painting and literature. They like the same movies and listen to the same musical artists. It seemed that this communication could continue indefinitely, but the bell announcing the beginning of the third pair interrupted the dialogue, forcing Catherine to hurry to class. During the pair, Maria asked where her friend had run away so quickly, but Ekaterina did not want to talk about communication with Victor, deciding to keep their sit-downs in the cafeteria in secret. The next day, Catherine, arriving at the university 10 minutes before the start of classes, notices Steve standing at the entrance to the building. Noticing the girl, he waved to her and, passing the crowd of freshmen who almost demolished him on their way, hurried to Catherine. "Hi, how are you? How are you feeling?" Steve asked. "Hi, I'm fine. Why? You've never been interested in my life before, or has something changed? I'm just asking if there's a guy who's really interested." "What do you mean?" Catherine asked with incomprehension. "Remember during my birthday party you asked about Victor? Well, he was interested in you, asked if you have a boyfriend, and in general wanted to know what kind of person you are." "And what did you tell him about me?" The girl asked anxiously, realizing that she and Steve didn't know each other well enough, and he might have said something stupid. "He said that you are a beautiful girl, fully focused on her studies, and if he wants to know something, you should ask her personally," Steve said, calming Catherine down. "And what did he say about it?" the girl asked. "He and I decided that we should invite you and Maria on a date with the four of us. How would you feel about that?" "I need to consult with Maria. Let's talk about it after the pair. Okay?" Catherine asked, realizing that she needed to discuss it with her friend. "Yes, agreed Steve, and hurried Catherine so that they would not be late for class. Meeting with Maria, the girl told about the dialogue with Steve and communication with Victor. The friend is a little jealous of Catherine because she thought that none of the girls is not able to interest Victor. At the same time, Maria has long looked at Steve, but did not know how to interest him. Perceiving a foursome date as an ideal opportunity for this, the girl agreed to this adventure. After the first couple, Catherine told Steve that the discussion had yielded results and they were ready to meet the guys. After class, Victor and Steve wait for the girls near the car and, meeting the girlfriends, invite them to a cafe. Having booked a table for four, the guys behave like real gentlemen, wooing the girls and letting them choose whatever they want. As they continue to chat and get to know each other, Catherine and Victor continue to get to know each other, realizing that they have even more in common than they previously thought. Maria and Steve also waste no time, and as they chat, they realize that they have long been interested in each other. Several hours of communication gradually come to an end, and Maria receives a call from her parents, demanding that the girl return home immediately. Victor is ready to take everyone home and offers the services of a coachman. He takes Maria first, as she is in a big hurry, and Steve second, as he lives not far from the girl. Catherine lives a little farther away than the others, so Victor takes her last. "Did Steve tell you anything about me or not?" Victor asked, having parked in front of the girl's driveway. "No, what should he have told me?" Catherine asked in surprise, not understanding what he was talking about. "I'm about why I'm not dating anyone and blew off all the girls," the guy clarified. "No, did not say anything," replied the girl. "You see, a few years ago I was in a relationship and it seemed to be serious. We dated for 2 years, but the girl betrayed me and made unbearably painful. Since then, no one could interest me because everyone was too superficial and frivolous. Yeah, I know it happens. I also for a long time did not meet anyone, but more because I was focused on my studies and did not want to waste time on ridiculous attempts to find a guy," replied Catherine. "I'd already realized that, and I asked Steve about it. I don't know how to say it. I don't remember how to do it anymore. But I like you very much. How do you feel about continuing our communication and meeting the other day?" Victor asked shyly, looking into the girl's deep blue eyes. "I am only in favor. I am very pleased to communicate with you," answered Catherine. "Good, I'm glad to hear that. Can you leave me your number so I can call you?" "Yes, of course," replied the girl, and leaving a cell phone number, said goodbye to the guy. Going up to the apartment, Catherine hurried to her bedroom, but noticed her mother, who came out of the kitchen. "Who was it?" asked the woman. "What are you talking about?" with incomprehension asked her daughter. "I'm talking about the guy who gave you a ride. Who is he?" clarified the girl's mother, who saw Catherine get out of the car of a young man. "This is Victor. We communicate with him. Can you tell me more about him? I need to know who drives you home. He studies at our university in the 5th year and is friends with a guy from my group. We met at Steve's party and started hanging out. I hope you're not doing anything stupid?" "No, we're just chatting," Catherine answered, and not wanting to go into details, went to her room. Her mother wanted to know a little more about Victor, but her father came home. She did not dare to talk about him in front of her husband, realizing that he is unlikely to react approvingly to the fact that the daughter began to communicate with the guy. Ekaterina and her mother spent dinner in silence, as the girl did not want to discuss the fact that Victor gave her a ride, and the woman was afraid to touch the subject and did not want to dedicate her husband to it. The next morning, the father left for work early, which allowed the mother and daughter to talk some more. Having calmed the worried mother, Catherine hurried to study, and arriving at the university, met her friend, waiting for her near the benches near the entrance to the building. "Hi. Well, how was yesterday's day?" "Tell me, I'm interested," began Maria, meaning Catherine. "Hi. What are you talking about?" the girl asked. "I was talking to Steve, and he said that Victor drove you home last. Did you two have something going on?" "Yes, a pleasant conversation, during which we realized that we had a lot in common," Catherine replied. "That's not what I'm asking," Maria replied, hinting at something more personal. "There was nothing more to tell. Victor just gave me a ride home, and I went to my place," the girl replied, cutting off her friend's fantasies at the root. The next couple of days were no different from the previous ones. Because Ekaterina was concentrated on her studies, all her time was given to pairs and homework. At the same time, there was one difference, because now she was constantly looking at the phone in the hope that Victor would call or text. The guy was silent and gave no sign of his existence, but Catherine had no time to be upset or worry about it, because there were things to do not only at the university, but also at home. Another weekend again heralded a trip to the dacha, and this time Catherine did not refuse, realizing that her parents needed help. Returning home on Sunday evening, the girl went to shower and a few minutes later heard the phone call. Running out of the bathroom only in a robe, Catherine ran into the bedroom and seeing the cherished name Victor on the phone, closed the door behind her. "Hi, I thought you weren't going to call me." "Hi, I'm sorry I didn't call sooner. I've been a little busy. I hope you're not mad at me." "No, I'm fine. Did you at least take care of things over there?" Catherine asked. "Yes, so I suggest we meet tomorrow night. How do you feel about it?" Victor asked. "In principle, I do not mind. Where shall we go?" "I propose to go to the movies. They just promised to show a new historical drama. How do you feel about this genre?" asked the guy. "I told you that I like such movies, so I will gladly keep you company." "What time is the show?" "It starts at 19 o'clock. I'll pick up around 6, okay?" "Yes, of course," answered Catherine, happy to see you soon. "Great, then I will not distract you. See you tomorrow," Victor summarized, hanging up the phone. Realizing that tomorrow night she would meet again with the guy she really liked, Catherine could not hold back her emotions, happy that Victor had called her. Back in the shower, the girl cleaned herself up and decided to go to bed early to get some sleep and rest. Couples, although there were 5 of them, passed unnoticed, because from the morning, Catherine waited for the moment when she could meet Victor. She didn't dare to discuss it with her friend, as she didn't want new questions and jokes from Maria, who thought that Victor was not suitable for her. After the university, Catherine returned home and, having chosen the most elegant dress, began makeup, spending more than an hour on it. I've already arrived. Are you soon?" Victor asked, having reached the girl. "Hi. Give me 5 minutes. I'm almost ready," answered Catherine, continuing to style her hair. "Okay, waiting," the guy replied, realizing that the wait would be much longer. 15 minutes later, he met the girl and, giving her a bouquet of roses, hurried, as there was not much time left before the session. Leaving for the theater, the couple decided not to stop watching the movie, and on the way home stopped by a cafe to talk a little, discuss the movie, and drink coffee with some dessert. "How did you like The Moorishman?" asked Victor, who was interested to know Catherine's opinion about the movie they had watched half an hour ago. "You know, it seems to me that this movie is worthy of high awards. The actors played so sincerely and qualitatively that from the first to the last minute you believe, hoping that something good will happen. I have no doubt that it will receive the deserved high praise," to Catherine, sharing her impression. "I agree, the picture is really worthwhile. If you want, in a couple of weeks there should be another high-profile premiere. We can go. You know I'm always up for it. Besides, it's nice to spend time with you. It's mutual, because I'm also very easy, interesting, and good with you, Victor admitted, taking the girl's hand. After a little more chatting, the couple realized that it was already late enough and Catherine had to go home. Having arrived at the girl's driveway, Victor decided to keep her for another minute and, passionately kissing Catherine, decided to ask the last question for today. Can we meet again tomorrow? Of course, I would be very happy to, answered Catherine. Good. Then I'll come to you around 5 o'clock in the evening, Victor replied, and having said goodbye to the girl, left for his home. Coming up to the apartment, Catherine heard that her parents were drinking tea in the kitchen and invited her to their place. Refusing dinner, the girl hurried to her room, as she does not want to share her emotions and she needs to be alone with her thoughts. All night, Catherine is impressed by the date and cannot sleep, realizing that she likes Victor more and more. This worries the girl, because not so long ago she didn't think about guys and was concentrated on her studies, but now day and night, she thinks only about meeting Victor again. In the evening, Victor kept his word and again came to the girl's house to spend another wonderful evening with her. Leaving the car, the couple decided not to go anywhere, but to go for a walk to the park to enjoy the surrounding nature and get emotions from the rides. Having experienced joy, fear, and pleasure from the time spent on the carousel, Victor and Ekaterina kissed again. Walking the girl home, it was obvious that Victor was very nervous, as if he wanted to tell her something special. What are you thinking about? Catherine asked, noticing that the guy was very excited. Yes, there are certain thoughts. Can you share? I can see that you are nervous. Yes, I am. I haven't said it in years and I didn't think I could do it again. But I think this is the moment. What do you mean? Catherine asked with incomprehension. Will you be my girlfriend? I am very good with you, and I think that I am ready for a serious relationship, said Victor, without taking his eyes off the girl. I agree, answered Ekaterina and hugged Victor tightly, calming his lover. Saying goodbye, the girl returned home and, deciding to share her joy, told her mother about what had happened. Realizing that the father may not be pleased, they decided to keep it a secret, telling the head of the family about it a little later. The next morning, Maria also found out about it, but her friend did not poke Catherine anymore, because she was happy for her best friend no matter what. At the same time, Maria and Steve began to get closer, spending time not only at the university, but also outside of it. It turned out that they had a lot in common and were good around each other. Having started dating, Victor and Catherine continue to spend time together, but at the same time they do not forget about their friends, inviting them on double dates. Showing attention, affection, and care, Victor constantly spoils the girl with flowers and small gifts, pleasant surprises, and creative approach to dates. Dinner on the roof, balloon flight, and other original variants of meetings would be something impossible for most girls, but Ekaterina experienced all these emotions, enjoying every day of relationship with Victor. 6 months later, the girl begins to notice that her beloved does not call her so often and more often disappears somewhere. Beginning to worry that the romantic period has come to an end and their relationship has lost its spark, Catherine decided to call Victor to sincerely talk and understand what is happening. As it turned out, the girl has no reason to worry, because they began to see each other less often only because Victor is preparing for the defense of his diploma and does everything in order not to let his father down. A few months pass, and the guy finishes the university with honors, having received a red diploma. All this time they practically did not see Catherine, only occasionally walking in the park and having dinner in a cafe. The girl took with understanding, because her young man should be not only caring, but also independent. Having waited until she graduated from university, she realized that now Victor would pay a little more attention to her, but at the same time he would have to get a job. Getting used to the realities of adult life, Ekaterina was ready for everything, because she knew and understood that next to her loved one, ready for her to do anything. Hi, I'll come to you in an hour? Need to talk, said Victor, having reached the girl. Hi. Okay, I'm waiting for you, answered Catherine and ran to the bathroom to get ready for the meeting. Looking out the window an hour later, the girl noticed the guy's car and ran downstairs. I miss you very much. I'm sorry that lately I pay a little less time. As you can see, there was a lot of things to do and had to deal with it all, said the guy, hugging and kissing his favorite. It's okay, I understand everything, answered Catherine, dissolved in Victor's arms. I would like to invite you to a restaurant to celebrate the end of the university. How do you feel about it? You know I'm always happy to meet you. That's true, but there's one thing, Victor said and thought about it a little. What is it? Catherine asked with genuine interest. How would you like to meet my parents? Mother has long wanted to talk to you, and I think that the right moment has already come. I don't know, I hadn't really thought about it. In principle, I agree, but you realize that this is a serious step, replied the girl. Do you think I don't take you seriously enough? I thought that I would get a job, and we could go somewhere for a week during the vacation, or are you against it? Asked Victor was ready for their relationship with Catherine to move to a new level. No, I don't mind, but then you have to meet my parents too, answered Catherine. Okay, so tonight we'll meet my parents, and closer to the weekend you'll introduce me to yours. Will it be all right? Yes. Okay, replied the girl, realizing that first she needs to talk to her father, because he knows about the existence of the guy only partially, because he and his mother for a long time tried to shield him from this information. Great, then I'll pick you up closer to 6, summarized Victor, and kissing the girl once again, let her go home. On returning to the apartment, Catherine began to prepare for meeting the parents of the guy, realizing that today's evening was special and meant a lot to her. Soon the girl's mother came home, and without putting off the dialogue in a long box, she told her that the relationship with Victor was reaching a new level. Betty was greatly surprised by the rapidity and development of the relationship, but at the same time she is sincerely happy for her daughter and wishes her only happiness. Realizing that the conversation about it cannot be postponed, they, having waited for the head of the family from work, decided to talk to him at once. Trying to be careful and delicate in her statements, the mother started first, telling about the fact that her daughter had been communicating and dating with a guy a couple of years older than her. Archie was not just surprised, but genuinely shocked, but Catherine and Mom were able to explain everything before the father began to get angry or try to throw a scandal. Having listened to his wife and daughter, the man was sympathetic, remembering how long Valentina hid it from her parents. Realizing that the daughter is happy and sincerely loves Victor, Archie did not quarrel with Catherine, but only asked that in the near future she would bring him home for acquaintance. Thanking her mother for her help and assistance, the girl hurried to the date, having previously told her parents that today she had to meet the parents of the guy. Don't worry, my mother is a great woman and my father is a little strict, but it's because of work, so don't pay attention, Victor said, preparing the girl for the meeting. Okay, I'll try, excitedly answered Catherine, trying to overcome the fear. Don't be afraid, you are a wonderful girl, whom I love, so I won't give offense, Victor reassured the girl. Having arrived at the restaurant, the couple went to the table, where sat a man in a business suit and a woman in a spectacular evening dress. Hi. As promised, meet my girlfriend. Her name is Ekaterina. She is a third-year student, Victor said, introducing the girl to her parents. Hello, Catherine said shyly. Good evening, Catherine. My name is Natalie, and this frowning man is my husband. Victor's mother greeted the girl with a smile on her face. Austin, the man formally introduced himself, kissing the girl's hand and inviting her to the table. During the conversation, it became clear that Victor's parents are very serious and wealthy people. His father owns a large financial company, and his mother runs a small beauty salon in the city center in her spare time. Despite their status, they are quite interesting and pleasant people, with whom it is easy and pleasant to communicate. Realizing this, Catherine was able to relax and chat with Victor's parents, feeling that they liked her a lot. Imperceptibly, the evening came to an end, and after walking the girl to her car, Victor returned to the restaurant for a few moments to give her parents an honest and unvarnished appraisal. Realizing that they really liked Catherine, the guy exhaled with relief and, returning to the car, passionately kissed Catherine. A couple of days later, Victor was waiting for the same fate as the girl, because he also had to get acquainted with the parents of his other half. Buying flowers for Catherine and her mother, the guy made a pleasant impression on the parents. Having talked a little at the dinner table, the Stones were surprised that despite his young age, Victor turned out to be a very serious and competent guy. As soon as he left, Betty admitted that she was surprised by the guy's good manners, and her father, though he didn't want to admit it, also noted that Victor was a very pleasant and intelligent young man. Having had dinner with Catherine's parents, Victor realized that the family liked the girl and they were satisfied. Having pleased both his parents and Ekaterina himself, the guy decided to deal with pressing problems, one of which is his employment. Deciding to follow in his father's footsteps, The guy studied to be a financier and trying to bring maximal help to the family. He wanted to get a job in his father's company. Having returned home, Victor waited for his father and, knocking on the door of his private office, asked him to spare a few minutes. "Hey, come on in. Did you want something or just for fun?" Austin asked, continuing to dig through the papers. "I want to work in your company," Victor said from the doorstep, not trying to choose nice words. "Oh, how many people dream to work in my company. Why do you think I should make an exception for you? Just because you are my son doesn't mean anything." "I understand, but you won't regret your decision. I care about your business as much as anyone else, and I will do my best to increase it," Victor replied, trying to convince his father. "Do you really think you can handle the workload? Keep in mind that I will treat you the same way I treat other employees. If you can't handle it, or if you give up, you'll go to mommy. Do we have a deal?" Austin asked, making it clear that Victor, as a relative, would have no advantages and no preferential treatment. "Yes, we have a deal. Don't worry, I won't run away, and I'll do everything that depends on me," Victor said firmly and confidently, realizing that working for his father opened huge prospects for him. "Good. Then from tomorrow, you will start as an ordinary financier. If you do well, we will discuss your promotion in a couple of years, but in the meantime, gain experience," summed up his father, and realizing that the dialogue had come to an end, asked Victor to leave his private office to work a little more. Starting the next day, Victor plunged into work, trying to do his best not to disappoint his father. Devoting free time to the girl, the guy shares his worries, thoughts, and ideas with her, since Catherine is also quite strong in finances and can give sound advice. So imperceptibly for both and passed the year, anticipating the first vacation for Victor and the next summer vacation for Catherine. Deciding that it is important to keep his promise, the guy took a vacation for a couple of weeks to spend them together with his other half. "Hello, my darling. How are you?" asked Victor, having reached Catherine. "Hi. Everything's fine. I was with my parents at the dacha all weekend. I just got back recently. Remember, I promised that on vacation we'll go on a trip." "Yeah, I remember. You took a vacation?" the girl asked in surprise. "Yes, from next Monday I start a 2-week vacation, and I propose to spend it in France. How do you like the idea?" Victor asked, anticipating Catherine's reaction. "In France? You are crazy," the girl replied happily, not expecting such a pleasant surprise. "Maybe, but I just love you very much and want you to remember this trip for life," replied the guy, who managed to pleasantly surprise the other half. A week later, the couple got ready for a vacation and, taking everything they needed for the rest, went to France. Traveling to this amazing country was fabulous and romantic. Nice, Toulouse and Marseille left a lasting impression, but it was just a rehearsal before something more significant and grandiose. The couple spent the first week traveling around the big cities, but the second part of the vacation was planned to spend a week in the most beautiful, luxurious, and romantic city in the world. Once in Paris, Catherine was amazed by the beauty and grandeur of the Eiffel Tower and was finally speechless when she learned that they had a date planned on one of its upper floors. During dinner at the restaurant, it turned out that the surprises didn't end there, because Victor had been preparing for this trip for a long time and wanted it to be really special and memorable. Taking out of his pocket a box with a ring, the guy offered Catherine to marry him, in response to which he heard a cherished yes. At the same time, Catherine realized that she is still a student and ahead of the master's degree, so she needs to focus on her studies. Having discussed everything, the couple decided to organize a wedding right after Ekaterina defends her diploma. Returning home, Victor and Catherine once again discussed what had happened during the dinner. Realizing that it was an important and significant event, they decided that it was worth telling their parents about it. Given that they love each other, parents should be introduced, because in a year they will become one big and friendly family. Discussing all the details, the couple agreed that they would discuss the matter with their parents at home, and when all the details were agreed, Victor would be able to book a table at the restaurant. After arriving home, Ekaterina met with her parents and told them that Victor had proposed marriage to her, and she had agreed, asking them to wait a little longer. Father and mother were happy about this decision, because they want their daughter to finish university and realize herself before getting married and linking her life with a man. Victor also told his parents that he wanted to get married. His father treated the guy's action with understanding and respect, because over the past year he became convinced that his son is a strong, mature, and independent man, capable of making difficult decisions. "Hi, I discussed everything with my parents. They do not mind to meet, said Victor, getting through to the girl. Hi, I talked to my parents too. Everything seems to be fine, answered Catherine. So, do you want me to make a reservation? Why not? I think everyone is ready to get acquainted and talk more closely. I agree, because it will be awkward if they get acquainted only during the wedding, replied Victor, trying to joke. Yes, Catherine replied. A couple of days later, Victor makes a reservation at a restaurant, inviting his parents and informing Catherine about it. The guy's father is a little late after work, so the Grigorieves will arrive a little later. Realizing this, Victor went to pick up Ekaterina and her parents, not rushing them, allowing them to get ready for dinner. Having met Ekaterina's parents and the girl herself, Victor showed himself as a gentleman, giving the ladies flowers. Upon arrival at the restaurant, they had to wait a little for the parents of the guy, but the wait was quick and unnoticeable, as Victor brightened it up with his sense of humor and interesting stories from work. Gathered around the table, the parents finally got to know each other. Betty and Natalie immediately found a common language, but Austin Vasilievich and Archie Gennadievich did not have a good conversation. They lived different lives, because one of them is the owner of a financial company, and the second is a simple car mechanic. Despite this, the men managed to find a common interest in soccer, thanks to which they became close, and towards the end of the evening even became friends, discussing the latest news of the transfer market. Another year passes. Victor continues to work diligently, fully justifying his father's trust. During this time, he not only gained experience, but also managed to realize his creative potential, creating several new branches for the business, increasing the company's capital several times. Noticing his son's diligence and ability to get results, his father realized that Victor was ready for new and tougher challenges. Deciding to talk to his son, the man summoned him to his office in the middle of the workday. "Hello, Austin. Did you call?" Victor asked formally, realizing that at work, the chain of command should apply. "Come in, Victor, and close the door behind you," replied the owner of the financial company. "Did you want something?" the boy asked, sitting closer to the man. "Yes, son. I wanted to have a heart-to-heart talk with you," the father replied, his voice softening sharply. "Got it. About what exactly?" Victor asked, constantly looking at his watch, because in the work process he appreciates every minute. "You've been working in my company for 2 years already, and during this time you've proved that I didn't hire you by chance or by blat, but because you're a good specialist. It seems to me that you should head the financial department. Are you ready for that?" the father asked, offering his son a promotion. "If you think you deserve it, I am ready," Victor answered modestly. "Good. Then from next week take over the business, and yes, the office on my right is yours now," said Austin, congratulating his son on his new position. "Thank you. I'll try even harder," Victor replied encouragingly. At the end of the working day, the guy decided to share his joy with his other half. Inviting Ekaterina to the restaurant, Victor told her that he had received a promotion at work and was glad that he could prove his professional suitability to his father. Ekaterina is sincerely happy because she is proud of her lover, who is able to conquer new heights. At the same time, she also has something to boast about, because just this morning she defended her diploma, graduating from university with honors. Realizing that all the conditions and restrictions have gone to the background, the couple decides to apply to the registry office. The next morning, Victor and Catherine apply, and having chosen the date of the wedding, begin to make preparations for the celebration. Over the past year, Victor has collected money, so the girl has practically no restrictions on the menu, guest list, and wedding dress. Catherine was pleased with the generosity of her favorite person, but she did not want to be impudent, so she invited only her parents, some school friends, and Maria. In the choice of wedding dress and menu, she was also restrained, because the girl was embarrassed that she was spending money that she had nothing to do with. 2 months of preparation for the wedding come to an end, and the long-awaited and solemn day comes. During the wedding, Ekaterina feels herself the happiest and most beloved girl in the world, because next to her is a kind, handsome, intelligent, generous, and sincere guy who loves her with all his heart. Her parents are crying with happiness, periodically shouting bitter, and her friend is kindly jealous of Ekaterina, dreaming that soon she will marry Steve, with whom she has been dating for several years. The cherry on the cake at the end of the wedding was a gift from Victor's parents, who decided that the young family should live in their own apartment. Free-room wedding gifts shocked not only Ekaterina's parents, but also all present, who did not expect such a scope. Thanking his father for the generous gift, Victor embraced his young wife and brought her to her senses after the shock. The honeymoon came to an end, and realizing that the university was left behind, Catherine went in search of a new job. Victor offered to work in his father's company, but Ekaterina did not want to depend on anyone, and she understood that working with her husband in the same organization could cause constant conflicts. Having called several ads, the woman found a couple of suitable options and agreed to an interview. The first option was not the best, so she refused the vacancy, and having called once again with the owner of a small trading company, hurried to the second interview. "Good afternoon. I on the ad," said Catherine, meeting the secretary. "Hello. You are Catherine?" clarified the man. "Yes. Can I go through?" "You'll have to wait a few minutes. Maybe I can offer tea or coffee," the secretary asked. No, thank you. Nothing is not necessary," modestly replied Ekaterina, and after waiting a few minutes, saw a girl in tears ran out of the office of the owner of the company. "Vazia, who is there next?" shouted the man to the secretary. "Come on in," said the man to Catherine, who had time to be frightened and doubted whether she needed this job. "Hello, I am Catherine. We called you a few hours ago," said Catherine, finding herself in the office of the man. "Good afternoon. My name is Max. As I understand, you have no work experience and you recently graduated from our local university." "That's right," the young woman answered timidly. "Wait, Catherine, and Austin is not your relative by any chance?" asked a man who knows the owner of the financial company well. "Well, to some extent you can say so. He is the father of my husband," Catherine replied, explaining the reason for the similarity of the last name. "And why did you go to work for him? Especially since his son Victor also worked in the company." "That's why I didn't want to. It is important for me to realize myself and achieve something on my own, and regardless of the status of my husband or his father." "Well, your desire is commendable, and I think I'll give you the opportunity. You will work under Anna's supervision. She is a difficult woman, but she is a good specialist, and if she likes you, she will make a real professional out of you in the shortest possible time," Max replied, deciding to hire Catherine. "Okay, I'm ready for everything," the woman said confidently. "Vazia, invite Anna to my place," ordered the owner of the company, contacting the secretary through the selector. "Okay, 1 minute," kindly replied the man on the other side. "Hello, Max, did you call?" asked a slender woman in her 50s in a black business suit and gold-rimmed glasses, who looked into the office of the business owner. "Good afternoon, Anna." "Yes, come in. I want you to introduce our new accountant and your ward," said the man, pointing at Catherine. "Hello, my name is Catherine," said the young woman timidly. "Pleased to meet you. From now on I am your boss. You don't have to love me, but you will have to respect me," replied the chief accountant. "Okay," slightly frightened answered Catherine, realizing that it is not comparable to the university and good-natured teachers often go to meet a student. "Tomorrow I am waiting at 8 in the morning at the workplace," said Anna, and left the chief's office, returning to the workplace. "Don't be late, she doesn't like it," Max added from himself, warning Catherine that any delay could be a reason for conflict and her subsequent dismissal. "Okay, I will be on time," Catherine replied, and thanking the man for his trust, hurried home to share the happy news with her husband. On the way home, Catherine stopped by the store and bought everything to prepare a special dinner. Back in the apartment, the woman hurried to the kitchen and, clattering pots and pans, spent a few hours there, trying to create little culinary masterpieces that could surprise her beloved. Hearing the slam of the door, Catherine rinsed her hands and, running out into the hallway, saw a tired husband. Without saying a word to his wife, he took off his shoes and went to the bathroom to wash his hands and wash his face. "How are things at work?" "You're kind of sad," said Catherine, noticing that her husband is not in the mood. "I'm fine. Sorry, just very tired. Today was a tough negotiation and just no strength." "What's for dinner tonight?" Victor replied, explaining the reason for the lack of mood. "Let's go, I will surprise you and hopefully please you," the wife replied, inviting her husband to the kitchen. Being attentive and caring, she surrounded Victor with various dishes, the aromas of which could drive him crazy. "Wow, we have some kind of holiday?" surprised asked the man, who from the variety of dishes appeared moved. "You could say so," answered the wife. "And what is the occasion, if it is not a secret?" "I was hired as an accountant at a trading company. Tomorrow is the first day of work," Catherine admitted, hoping that her husband will support her. "Why do you need it?" "I told you that you don't have to work," As I earn well and we have enough money, Victor replied. You know that I want to work and dream about career growth. It's important for me to realize myself, not just to sit on your neck, answered Catherine, explaining her position. All right, suit yourself. In any case, I am happy for you. But remember that if it will be difficult, you can always quit or move to our company. Difficulties do not frighten me. I will cope with everything, confidently stated the woman who does not want to show her weakness in front of difficulties and obstacles. I had no doubt that you would answer like that. Victor reacted to the words of his beloved, realizing that Ekaterina had a strong character and she was ready to fight for her dream. From the next morning, the woman started her work duties. Anna decided to test her strength and entrusted her with the most difficult tasks, in which you need not only basic knowledge, but it is important to prove yourself. To the surprise of the chief accountant, Ekaterina coped with the task perfectly, proving her professional suitability. Day by day, the woman began to earn her authority, both among colleagues and superiors. Soon Anna recognized that Catherine is an intelligent, hardworking, and responsible woman, able to help out in a difficult moment. After receiving the first positive feedback from the chief accountant and a bonus from the owner of the company, Catherine realized that she was on the right track. 6 months later, during her lunch break, Ekaterina begins to vomit. At first, the woman thought she was poisoned, but soon realized what the cause was. After taking several tests, she was convinced that she was pregnant. Upon returning home, the woman broke the news to her husband and parents, delighting the whole family. Realizing that she is already on the 3rd month, Catherine puts the chief accountant on notice, informing about her pregnancy. Anna realizes that she doesn't have much time to find a replacement for Ekaterina, but she finds one and manages to train her before the pregnant subordinate goes on maternity leave. Slowly preparing to become a mom, Catherine is happy to do household chores, devoting more and more time to her husband and communication with her parents. Realizing that there are still a few months before the birth, the woman decided to make a small repair in the apartment, arranging the children's room. Father and mother decided to help in this, as Ekaterina cannot carry heavy weights, and she will not climb the stepladder. So imperceptibly passed day by day, bringing the family closer to the most significant and happy day in their lives. Closer to the weekend, Catherine, having waited for her husband from work, reminds him that they need to go to the store to buy a crib, the first clothes and toys for the future baby. Victor does not resist it and agrees to everything that the spouse offers, as he realizes that all this is inevitable. Having given a weekend to his pregnant wife, the man was shocked when he found out how many things they need to buy. The space in the car was not enough, so they had to go shopping in several runs. After returning home, Catherine goes to the kitchen to prepare dinner, and her husband, meanwhile, goes to his office as he needs to do some work. Darling, dinner is ready, you soon? Catherine asked, looking into her husband's office. Yes, I'm coming now, said Victor, as if frightened by the sudden appearance of his wife. Why are you writing there? The woman asked, noticing that her husband was writing something in his notebook. I decided to write down our expenses in order to understand whether I should take on additional projects, Victor replied. Do not make up. We have not spent so much, replied a little surprised Catherine, because she knows perfectly well what her husband's salary is and realizes that it is more than enough, even without careful calculations. Maybe you are right, agreed the husband, and, embracing his wife, went with her to the kitchen. A couple of weeks later, Catherine goes to see a doctor to check the condition of the baby, the location of the fetus, and to find out a more accurate date for delivery. Having received all the necessary information, Catherine wanted to stop by the pharmacy herself to buy everything necessary, but felt faint. Deciding not to risk it, the pregnant woman ordered a cab and went home. Realizing that it was undesirable to postpone shopping, she decided to call her husband. Hello, darling. I hope you are not too busy, Catherine asked, having reached Victor. Hi. Well, there is a minute. Why? Did you want something? He asked. Yes. I went to the doctor today. What did he say? Is the baby okay? Yes. Everything is going according to plan, but I need to buy some prenatal vitamins to strengthen my body a little before the birth. I was gonna stop by the drugstore and get them myself, but I felt faint. You buy it, or should I ask my mother? Asked Catherine, realizing that her husband may refuse. No need to ask anyone. I will buy everything. Okay. Sorry, I have to work. Until evening, Victor replied and hung up the phone. In the evening, the man returns from work and gives his wife not only vitamins, but also a large bag of fruit. While Ekaterina is sorting out the bags, he goes to the bathroom, and 10 minutes later he hurriedly returns, as if he had forgotten or lost something. "What is it? Why are you so torn up?" Catherine asked. "Have you seen the check?" Victor asked, examining all the purchases that his wife put on the table. "No, I haven't seen it. Why do you need it?" "Well, if I ask, then I need it," said the man. "Ah, here it is," replied Catherine, looking into the bag and seeing the receipt at the bottom. "Give it here," said Victor, and snatching the check from the hands of his wife, ran to his office. Ekaterina was very surprised by such behavior of her husband, but did not ask why he behaves like this, thinking that her beloved is just nervous about the upcoming birth. A little more time passes and the day of labor is approaching. Realizing that this day is not just a holiday, but also very difficult and requires proper preparation, Catherine waits for her husband from work and informs him that it is time to pack for the hospital. Victor has to leave for a couple of days on a business trip, so he promises to buy everything he needs on Sunday as soon as he gets home. Having met her husband closer to lunchtime, Catherine fed Victor and reminded him that he had promised to go to the store with her. Keeping his word, Victor bought everything his wife indicated, both at the children's store and at the drugstore. At some point, Catherine noticed that her husband took all the receipts, openly demanding them from the sellers and hiding them in his pocket. When she returned home, Catherine sorted out the packages and noticed that her husband, without even washing his hands, ran to his office. Thinking that her husband's behavior was too suspicious, the woman followed him and, opening the door to Victor's private office, saw that he was putting all the receipts into a notebook and writing something in it. Realizing that the man is obsessed with all this, she decides to talk to him again. "Honey, why are you writing everything down?" "Don't worry, we have enough money for everything, especially since you recently got a promotion." "I'm just calculating the family budget. You know my love of numbers and precision." "Yes, I know and understand everything, but do not worry about it," said Catherine, noticing that her husband is a little obsessed with it. "I agree, but I just want to know that I can provide for you and the child, and we have enough," Victor replied, and hiding the notebook in the desk drawer, turned off the light in the office, going with his wife to the kitchen. A couple more weeks pass and Ekaterina feels that she is in labor. Calling her husband from work, the couple rushed to the hospital. A few hours later they had a boy, whom Catherine and Victor decided to name Barry. A couple of days later, the husband again comes to the hospital to thank the doctor and take his wife and son. After arriving home, Catherine begins the everyday life of a young mother, full of worries and troubles. A few weeks later, Catherine waits for her husband from work and, having put the baby to bed early, goes to the kitchen to prepare a meal. "I know that you are worried about our family budget, but we need to spend a little," said Ekaterina during dinner. "What do you need to buy?" Victor asked. "After childbirth, I need to update my closet a little because most of the things after pregnancy became too big. You know that we need to save every penny because now we have a child. And I am the only one who works in the family," my husband replied. "Yes, I understand, but you do not want me to walk in rags and look as if these things from someone else's shoulder." "I agree." "Good. Tomorrow we'll go shopping and buy everything you need," Victor agreed. The next morning, the couple takes the baby to his grandmother and goes for a little shopping. A few hours in stores and queues seemed unbearable to the man, but he did not say anything to his wife, realizing how important it is for her. Having bought everything they needed, the couple went to their parents' house in the evening, and after thanking their grandparents for looking after Barry, they took their son and returned home. Sometime later, Barry's teeth began to erupt. The baby is constantly crying, his temperature rises, and Catherine realizes that it is necessary to do something about it. She doesn't want to touch the child, because he will cry even more, and she can't leave him home alone. Having called Victor, Ekaterina asked her husband to buy the child special toys and drugs in the pharmacy, which can help and relieve the baby from constant pain. The man agrees to buy everything necessary after work, and in the evening brings toys, special gels, and other preparations to make the process painless. Noticing that her son is better, Catherine decides to go for a walk with Barry. Gathering the baby and equipping the stroller, the woman went for a walk in a park nearby. A couple of hours later, she returns home and, once in the entryway, realizes that the power has been cut in the house and the elevator is not working. She realizes that she will not be able to carry the stroller with the baby to the 7th floor, especially since she bought groceries on the way home and she is unable to carry it all home by herself. Hi, sorry to interrupt your work, but I need your help. Our power's out and the elevator's not working. We came back with Barry from a walk and I cannot go up to the apartment, said Catherine, at a loss to call her husband. Hi, sweetheart. I'm sorry, but I can't help you. I have negotiations and the next couple of hours I'm a little busy. But how can I carry the stroller and bags by myself? I don't know. If you want to go for another walk, I'll call you when I get off. Barry actually need to feed, said Catherine, realizing that the child is about to get hungry and start crying. Well, then go to your mom or order a cab. I'm sorry, I can't talk, Victor answered and hung up the phone, continuing business negotiations with partners. Catherine did not expect such a response because she hoped that her husband could spare an hour to come and help her. The bewildered woman did not know what to do and for a few minutes seemed to freeze, trying to understand what to do next. At that moment, the door opened and a pumped-up man, twice as big and tall as the fragile Ekaterina, entered the house. Noticing that the woman with the stroller stands on the first floor and the elevator does not work, he understood what was going on. Hello, can I help you? The stranger asked. Hello. No need. My husband will come soon, lied Catherine, afraid of a large and unfamiliar man. And how long to wait for him? He asked. I do not know. Promise to be soon. Continued to deceive the woman, not trusting the stranger. Maybe I'd better help you, or are you afraid of me? My name is Billy. I live in this house too, so you have nothing to fear. I'm not afraid. My name is Catherine, answered the woman, who could calm down only after the man introduced himself. Well, that's great. What floor do you live on? Billy asked. 7th. I could do it myself, but I bought groceries and I can't carry the baby. The stroller and the bag, Catherine replied. I understand. It's okay. I'll help you, especially on our way, as I live on the floor above, answered with a bit of a joke Billy and smiled. Seeing that Catherine understood him and smiled back, the man took the bag and the stroller, entrusting the woman only with the baby. When they reached the 7th floor, Catherine thanked Billy for his help because she couldn't have done it without him. He felt that he hadn't done anything special and was ready to help in case there was a need in the future. Having said goodbye to the young mother, the man went home and Catherine, having found herself in the apartment, laid out her things and hurried to the kitchen to prepare dinner before the return of her husband and wrote him a text message, warning him that she was waiting for him at home. A few more months pass. Catherine is going for a walk with her son, realizing that the child needs fresh air. Having collected the baby, the woman went to her favorite park nearby. After a little walk, she got tired and sat down on a bench to rest a little. At that moment, a small dog ran up to her and started barking, waking up Barry, who had fallen asleep. Catherine wanted to scare the dog away, but she was afraid he might bite her, so she just looked at him with her legs tucked under her. Do not be afraid, he is kind, said a familiar voice from outside. Oh, it's you, said Catherine, looking away and noticing Billy. Hello. Good to see you. This ringing puppy's name is Pirate. I got him for my birthday, said the man, taking the dog in his arms. It's a nice name. I hope you won't bite me. Catherine asked. No, he is kind and affectionate, Billy replied, reassuring the woman. Barry, who had woken up, noticed the dog and, interested in him, began to stretch his arms towards Pirate. Seeing the puppy's interest in the dog, Billy, with Catherine's permission, brought him closer to the boy so that he could pet Pirate and play with him a little. The puppy liked the baby and the playful dog licked Barry's nose, which made him happy. They had become friends, Billy noted and smiled amiably. Yes, they obviously like each other, Catherine agreed, not expecting such a reaction from her son. After a little more talking, Catherine and Billy took a walk in the park and decided to switch to you, as it turned out that the man was only a few years older than her. After walking for about an hour, Catherine realized that it was time for her to go home and Billy decided to see the woman off, as he was also going to finish the walk. On the way to the entrance, they continued to talk pleasantly, because it turned out that the neighbors had a lot in common and it was easy for them to communicate with each other. At some point, their dialogue was interrupted by Victor, who arrived at the entrance and saw his wife talking nicely with another man. Who the hell are you? Victor asked, pouncing on Billy. Victor, stop it. It's our neighbor. He lives on the 8th floor, Catherine interjected, trying to calm her husband. Hello, "Glad to meet you. My name is Billy," introduced himself. The man did not perceive Victor as a threat because he was considerably superior to him, and Billy's physical form exceeds the training of a man in a business suit. "I'm not very happy. Why are you walking with him?" Victor asked, looking at his wife. "We just met in the park and we were on the way," Catherine tried to explain. "How do you even know each other?" "Communicating behind my back, right?" continued jealous man. "Calm down, we are just neighbors." Once the elevator did not work in the entrance, and I helped your wife to bring the stroller to the 7th floor, interrupted Victor Billy, and having explained everything, said goodbye to Catherine and went to his home. "Well, you see, there is nothing to worry about and even more jealous," Catherine added, trying to calm her husband. Victor was clearly unhappy with what was happening and was boiling inside, but decided not to continue the scandal, seeing that Barry began to cry because of his father's shouting. In the evening, the couple discussed what had happened once again, and after understanding everything, Victor apologized for the jealousy attack and the emotions that had subjugated his mind. A few weeks later, when Victor returned home, he informed her that he had to go on a business trip. Deciding to use this time to good advantage, Catherine asked her husband to take her to her parents. When they meet their daughter and grandson, Archie and Betty are overjoyed, as they don't often get to see their grandson and spend a whole weekend with him. Towards Sunday evening, Victor returns to town and after stopping by his mother-in-law's house for pancakes, takes the family home. Catherine looks strange and suspicious all the time, as if she wants to talk about something, but is afraid. Noticing this, Victor decided to ask what's wrong. "Do you want to ask me something?" "Why do you think so?" Catherine asked, surprised. "Well, it seemed to me that you are always thinking about something and nervous. Did something happen?" "Just you were on a business trip for a few days, and I thought that on your return you would bring Barry some gifts," said the wife. "Well, that's the problem. You need me only for gifts, and if I came empty-handed, then you didn't miss me." Victor asked, getting a little angry. "No, I didn't say that. I just thought that I could buy some trinket for my son to surprise him and pamper him a little. I spend enough on you guys, I don't regret anything. So you forgot to buy a present, you're going to blame me now?" "Why are you so nervous?" "I just asked," replied Catherine, trying to calm her husband. Having listened to his wife, Victor calmed down, though he reacted to his wife's remarks too emotionally. The woman was upset because of the fact that they have conflicts on an empty place, but decided that it is better not to touch her husband on this topic, because it can only aggravate the situation and create a new conflict. So gradually the days turn into weeks and weeks into months. Barry slowly grows up, learns to walk, talk, and even begins to run, creating for his mother constant entertainment and adventures. 2 years of active life of a housewife and a caring mother, who devotes all her time to her husband and child, passed unnoticed by Catherine. Barry has already become quite mature and independent, so the stroller has moved to the background and Catherine could walk with her son, taking him by the hand. Going for another walk around the city, Catherine hardly held Barry when they passed a children's toy store. "Look what the boy said," pointing his finger at a large and brightly colored car located in the store window. "Yes, it's a beautiful car. Did you like it?" asked Catherine, noticing how his son's eyes sparkled. I want, Barry began to shout, as if maddened by this wonderful car, tantalizing him with its appearance. "Come on, let's go and see what kind of machine it is," answered Mom. Catherine and Barry went into the store and, asking the clerk for a toy, began to look at it. Barry firmly grasped the car and did not want to let her go, but after learning the price, Catherine looked in her purse and realized that she did not have enough money, as her husband practically does not give her pocket money and the amount allocated by him, usually enough only for food. "Are we taking her?" Barry asked, looking at his mom. "Son, and let's buy it next time?" asked Catherine, trying not to upset the boy and promising that they will come back for it. Now I don't want to say the boy, and realizing that his mother does not want to buy him a toy, was very upset and began to cry. "Who is it here crying?" asked a familiar voice behind Catherine. Turning around, the woman saw Billy and smiled at the man. "Hello, I didn't expect to see you here," said the woman, greatly surprised that Billy was in the baby store. "It's my nephew's birthday tomorrow, so I came by to pick out a present." "I want a car," the little boy continued to squeeze out through his tears, continuing to cry. "What kind of car do you want?" Billy asked, sitting down next to Barry. "This one, the red one," he answered, pointing his finger at the car. Wow, it's beautiful. I'd like one of those myself, Billy replied, supporting Barry's wish. Yes, good, but today, we will not buy it, intervened in the men's conversation Catherine. Why? What's stopping you? Billy asked in surprise, noticing how much the boy wanted to get this toy. No, there is nothing in the way, just not this time. Maybe let me help you, the man asked, realizing that the reason was the lack of money. No, you don't have to. We'll buy it ourselves. Just a little later, Catherine replied sharply and, taking the baby by the hand, dragged him towards the exit. Barry continued to cry, looking back at the toy, but did not interfere with his mother and followed her. Billy could hardly hold back a stingy manly tear as he felt sorry for the crying baby who was left without a toy. Catherine, wait a minute, came Billy's voice a few minutes later. The woman turned around and saw Billy catching up with her with a big box in his hands. Did you want something? She asked, not understanding why her neighbor had run after her. Here, Barry, Billy said, giving the box to the boy. Catherine did not want to accept a gift from a strange man and chose a phrase to say it as delicately as possible. But seeing the joy with which the child clutched the toy, she could not deprive the child of this joy. Thank you very much, but you shouldn't have, Catherine timidly replied, feeling awkward. You're welcome. I would give anything to see a smile on the child's face, said Billy. Thank you, said Barry, and giving the box to his mom, hugged the man's leg tightly. Thank you, that's what I thought. I'll buy one for myself tomorrow too, Billy said with a smile on his face, hugging the boy back. Remembering that he hadn't bought a present for his nephew, the man said goodbye to Catherine and Barry, hurrying back to the store to choose a toy. In the evening, Victor returned home and, after eating dinner, went into the nursery to check on the baby. Seeing that his son was holding an expensive car, the man hurried to the kitchen to talk to his wife. Where did this toy come from? He asked. I bought it. We were walking past a children's store and Barry saw it in the window. He wanted this car so badly that I could not refuse him, Catherine replied. Why are you lying to me? Why am I lying? I'm telling the truth. You do not have that kind of money. I'm well aware of how much such a toy costs. Where is the money from? Began to interrogate angry Victor. It was at a discount. I had just enough, continued the woman, afraid to tell the truth. Stop lying. Tell me where the toy came from before I throw it off the balcony, Victor replied, threatening to throw it away. You don't have to throw it away. It's expensive and Barry likes it. Are you going to tell the truth or not? A neighbor gave it to me. He was at the baby store and saw Barry crying. I refused, but he just decided to please our son, Catherine admitted, realizing that further lies only aggravate the situation. Hearing all this, Victor got even more angry because he had already once been jealous of Billy to his wife, and now he also gives gifts to his son. Having had a strong fight, Catherine and Victor did not communicate for a few days, but managed to make up, settling the conflict and dealing with the situation. A couple of months later, Maria calls Ekaterina and offers her friend to meet, sit in a restaurant, and at least a little socializing, as they have not seen each other for a long time. Having agreed, Ekaterina warns her husband that she wants to meet an old friend. Victor does not mind, but he is late at work, so it is better to take his son to his mother-in-law to look after Barry. Having listened to her husband's opinion, Catherine took the baby to her mother and went to meet her friend. Taking a free table, they made an order and began to discuss the latest events in each other's lives. How are things with Steve? He still has not made you an offer, Catherine asked, knowing that Maria has been dating a guy for several years. No, yet, he is not right for it. Sometimes it feels like I even in vain with him, but I love him very much and cannot leave. And how are things with you and Victor? Maria asked, having told about her personal life. Oh, do not even ask. Lately we quarrel more often than we see each other, as we fight even on the cell phone. Sometimes I get the impression that Victor is bored with me, but I want to believe that this feeling is deceptive. So what do you think you're gonna do about it? I don't know. I hope that I'm just wrong, and it's all because he has too nervous work, answered Catherine, believing that everything will change for the better. Hello, said the restaurant administrator, approaching the table of women. Oh, hello. Ekaterina greeted Billy in surprise, not expecting to see him here. How do you like our restaurant? Do you have any wishes or remarks? The man asked. No, everything is wonderful. Thank you very much, answered Catherine. Good. If something will be necessary, call. "By the way, your dinner is on the house, so you can order whatever you want," said Billy, and without waiting for the woman's answer, went to the bar. "Who is this?" asked surprised Maria. "My acquaintance, lives in our entrance floor above," answered Catherine. "Yes, you have good acquaintances. Handsome, pumped up, without a ring on his finger, and a good job. At times like this I doubt even more that I need Steve." "Stop it. It's just a neighbor," embarrassed Catherine replied, although she agreed with every word of her friend. The time is gradually approaching when a woman must come out of maternity leave to work. Having registered Barry in the kindergarten in advance, she does everything to ensure that the baby has time to adapt to the new step in life before she returns to the company. Realizing that the baby has settled in and likes the kindergarten, Ekaterina goes to work. The first day of work seemed very difficult and stressful, despite the fact that the owner of the enterprise and Anna were genuinely happy to see her, and even arranged a small ceremonial greeting for her colleague during the lunch break. Returning home after work, Catherine picks Barry up from daycare and hurries home to prepare dinner before her husband returns. Meeting Victor, she feeds her husband and puts the baby to bed. Back to her husband, Catherine decided to ask him for some money for pocket money, as the first salary will not be soon. "Can you give me a few thousand?" Catherine asked. "Are you kidding? You already cost me a lot," sharply replied angry Victor, flared up like a match. "Why do you react like that?" surprised asked his wife. "Because I'm tired of paying for you," the man replied and went to his office. A few minutes later, he returned to the kitchen and brought with him a notebook, from which the receipts sprinkled. As it turned out, he had been recording his wife and child's expenses in a debt notebook since she went on maternity leave. "You've been writing down everything you've spent on me?" "Yes. Now I'll count and tell you how much I've spent," the man said, and taking out his cell phone, began to calculate all the expenses. When he got the final number, he was stunned by the amount. "Here, all this will return to me every penny," said Victor, showing how much he spent on Catherine while she was on maternity leave. Seeing her husband's behavior, Ekaterina was shocked, but could not say a word, as she had no strength and desire to find out or discuss anything. She had long noticed that her husband behaved strangely, but could not imagine that he would act in such a way. Without continuing the dialogue, the woman waited until morning, and when she woke up, she packed her things, took Barry, and without saying a word to her husband, went to her parents. The next day Victor called and said that he was filing for divorce. Catherine did not interfere, as she realized that a man who spared money on his own son does not deserve to be near her and the child. A month later, Victor and Catherine officially divorced. Becoming a free woman, Ekaterina focused on work and her son. Continuing to communicate with Ilya, Ekaterina felt that he is not only a good friend and interlocutor, but also a man she likes and cares about. Billy treats Barry very well, has found an approach to him, and does not refuse the boy anything. Over time, the friendship of a man and a woman grew into something more, and having started a relationship, they realized that they sincerely love each other. A year later, Billy married Catherine, and a couple of years later they had a daughter, whom they decided to name Sophia.
Thank you for watching this video to the end. Subscribe to the channel. Like it, write comments if you like the story, and see you on the channel.